on is the one and only Jack Maxey.
Well, thank you guys for having me. One of the things that I found so striking about the Hunter prosecution is you now are hearing in the 24 hours since it was announced what he's going to suffer. You have IRS agents saying that they were not allowed to participate and help, that Merrick Garland shut down their participation. You have indications that Attorney Weiss already had that 1138 document or whatever it is that the House representatives saw last week concerning the bribe allegations from Ukraine, Burisma, but that the FBI would not give him access to any of the informants, nothing. They restricted what he could look at. I think this has been a fix from day one because, as I've always said, it's not about Hunter. It's about the bigwigs who are protecting Hunter, right? Hunter's just like a street mob boss. We've got to take down Tammany Hall. And that's essentially what the intelligence services, with the complicity of the Department of Justice, have become. It's a protection racket for dirty actors on the inside. I mean, for example, I was reminded of a young rap star named Kofor Black, who was arrested for the exact same crime that Hunter did, which was falsifying his yellow form when applying to purchase a weapon. He gave a false social security number, and this young African-American man did 48 months. And President Trump pardoned him on the last day of his presidency. The other thing that you got to remember is even those parents who paid that coach out in California $100,000 to get their daughters into USC, right? They went to jail for 6 months and a year in some cases. And yet Hunter absolutely walks. And the reason why is I think they don't really want to dig down too far into it. I think that there are many questions that are unanswered. I'd still like to see the Delaware State Police report concerning when they grabbed Hunter with the gun that he was not supposed to have. Both the FBI and the Secret Service were there too. I imagine they had some reports as to that incident. This was in 2018. At the time, neither Hunter nor his father merited Secret Service protection under the statute. But in fact, Secret Service shows up to rescue Hunter throughout his troubled times after his father leaves the White House. I mean, if nothing else, should we bring in these Secret Service agents for, doing illegal side works while they're on the clock? Because Biden didn't merit Secret Service protection of any kind. So I think that what we have to keep focused on is Hunter is not that important. It's people like Louis Freeh, James Comey, Peter Strzok. And I didn't remember her name last weekend, but anyone can look it up. Peter Strzok's wife, a woman named Melissa Hodgson. Melissa Hodgson was made the director of SEC enforcement as almost one of Joe Biden's first acts of office. There's obvious criminal behavior inside the broker-dealer. But the problem is Hunter is doing criminal behavior with the blessing of U.S. intelligence. And you see this in some of his various deals. I'm going to talk for a moment here. I didn't mean to, but it's something that's come up today, and I think our viewers are smart enough to know about it. I've talked for over 2 years about Metabiota, which is an American company that was the prime contractor inside the U.S. Intel-operated laboratories in Ukraine, the ones that they said didn't exist, and then they admitted, oh, okay, yeah, they do have smallpox in them, even though the World Health Organization said that had to be eliminated 30 years ago. Metabiota runs them. Metabiota is also inside the Wuhan lab. They were partners with a guy named George Gao, who's the head of the Chinese CDC. He was introduced to Metabiota through Hunter Biden because Hunter Biden had a relationship with a woman named Xiao Yingzong in Beijing through a company in Beijing called Radix. Now, we just found today, I just put together some extra dots. Metabiota is a portfolio company of an investment group based out in San Francisco that is funded by the CIA. This is not secret, called NIN-Q-TEL. Hunter was in conversation with one of those board members early on about Metabiota, and I'm guessing it was long before it became a portfolio company of a taxpayer-funded CIA-run investment firm in San Francisco called In-Q-Tel. So that means that when Hunter was out trying to get his besties with the help of Boyce Schiller and other people in Washington, D.C., to get insiders invested in this deal, this private company, my guess is Hunter already knew full well that In-Q-Tel was going to be the buyer. So right there's a bribe paid to the Bidens from the United States CIA and right out of the back pocket of every American. And if you want a bonus, hey, that's the pandemic, which they were also all involved in. If nothing else, people out there, the Biden family profited directly from experimentation going on inside the Wuhan lab through the relationship with George Gao, Metabiota, and their profit from it in coronavirus research in the Wuhan lab. And the CIA knew every single detail. And then you remember, Hunter goes to try and sell Metabiota to the Ukrainians. A month later, his dad gets the prosecutor fired, who was trying to prosecute Zolchevsky, who's the chairman of Burisma, the very company that later hires Hunter Biden for $82,000 a month. Well, this same company, a year and a half later, hires a guy named Cofer Black. Cofer Black is a CIA case officer, retired, formerly worked very closely with John Brennan in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. This same John Brennan who led the group of 51 intelligence professionals when they interfered in the 2020 election, calling the laptop Russian disinformation and a fabrication of the Kremlin. Connect the dots, people. Our target has to be these rogue intelligence agencies. Hunter Biden is a bit player. He's like a kid selling crack on the corner. He is not the cartel leaders. So don't worry, though, because apparently there are still opportunities to go after Hunter. This does not give him a get out of free jail card. This just covers the tax evasion and everything else. So, and remember, when other people go down, they're going to take Hunter down with them. And I know I've spoken for a long time, but I want to say one last thing. This is exactly why last summer I begged and pleaded for the American sheriffs to take on this case. The sheriff in Fayetteville, Arkansas, you are a shameless loser. I have no idea who you are, but you are a shameless loser because you should be kicking in the doors of Pruitt and Associates, a Wells Fargo bank that abetted all of Hunter's crimes, including human trafficking. Those are still crimes under Arkansas law. So we still need to buck up, people. Nothing is lost here. This is proof that these are criminals, right? Let's not forget Al Capone went to jail on an IRS charge too. So this is just the start. We are going to take these people down. I think everybody needs to say the rosary and pray for this judge that he rejects the plea deal, if nothing else, because it's racist. I mean, why does a young rapper do 48 months and Hunter walks? And why is it that the Democrats promoted their safe neighborhood laws that have put away thousands of people in the urban cities for being in possession of both drugs and a gun, even if there's no other crime? But not Hunter. You know why? Because Hunter has the ability to take down the CIA and the FBI. 100%. And I've told you guys before, you look at the connections between all of these people. Peter Strzok was deeply involved in the Russian collusion hoax that we're seeing hearings about today.
And Peter Strzok was the head of the FBI, right?
Peter Strzok was the number 2 guy at the counterintelligence office, the same office that raided Mar-a-Lago, the same office that got Hunter's laptop on December 9th of 2019 and has sat on it to the present day. This same office who never filed Hunter's laptop into evidence. That answer has still never been answered. Even the Washington Post can't get them to answer that as of, 9 months ago. So you have all these people are connected. I've had 2 people tell me that Peter Strzok and Louis Freeh are besties. Louis Freeh, even though the press doesn't want to talk about it, all the corruption in Romania, Louis Freeh was representing Hunter's corrupted partners over there. Louis Freeh, former director of the FBI. He also sits on the board of the Beau Biden Foundation for the Protection of Little Children. Also, remember, Hunter revealed that he had an FBI insider who was telling him information. How did he describe that FBI insider? Old One Eye. Take a look at Louis Freeh. He's only got one eye. This is not rocket science, people. This is just takes courage. We know where they are. We just got to take the Bangalore torpedoes and go up that hill and blow them out.
So one of the things